Hi, hello. Hi, I'm back with, I guess, a video on Madonna and just some interesting dates or some interesting tie-ins to actually today, to the 5th of February. Yeah, it's the middle of the night. As usual, I'm doing this thing at like 12 something at night. And I don't know if there's anything to this or not, but there are some interesting links. So I'm just going to go through it and you can make your own minds up on it. The main reason, I guess the main reason why I'm doing this is because there's a date that may be encoded in here with this image, okay? I'm going to explain it. And then it also ties into the dartboard as well, this date. So I'm like, well, it's interesting enough to do a video on it. Do I think Madonna's going to die today? I don't know. I have no clue really, but it's just interesting. Anyway, um, thanks to our journeyman, sent me a link to this. This is Secret Sun blogspot. Okay, interesting reading. I'd seen some of this Vanity Fair stuff several days ago, actually, um, when it first came out, but I hadn't really seen what was going on down here with this, and I hadn't made the connection that this guy makes. What he's talking about here is we've got her in this sort of the black Madonna looking robes here with the Sacred Heart. Obviously has been stabbed several times, and in fact it is several, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 daggers or swords in the heart. Which again is interesting because uh, this will be like the third time now that 7 has popped up as a sort of being encoded. I just put a video on Bob Bourne, the 70 days jump that's from his death to Easter, and then we also had the balloon thing, which also had a 7. It's just a random 7 encoded in it, but I could, it's just interesting the way the 7 has just popped up several times, and there's a reason why 7 is so important. Let me just backtrack to my chart of Lorraine. For people that are new here, don't know what this is balancing numbers. Check this video out in my back catalogue for an explanation of it. But needless to say, we can draw some conclusions from this chart, and of course this 7 column here, okay, these two columns here are the most important two columns. Oh, blimmin' hell, Dan, why are you trying to do it like that? The metaphysical column here in blue and this physical column here in red. Okay, the total of the blue column is 55. The total of the red column is 88. So we can see people that have seen Back to the Future are already seeing some numbers here that are significant. These are our two main columns, our two main balancing columns. This is where we can draw some conclusions about numbers that are in here, about balance in the world, about walking a righteous path, and we can kind of decode stuff around these numbers. Okay, so this 7 here, of course, is the combination of these two columns here. Okay, because this is basically Fibonacci type numbers where we add the previous number to our to we add one number to our previous number, and then we get the next number on in the sequence. Okay, I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but that's how this thing moves along. Okay, so we have this linear movement in one direction, and we have basically the previous two connotations, which I like to call the present and the past, generating the future. Okay, and so this 7 here, this 7 column, is all to do with these two sets of numbers combined. Okay, so there's a lot of significance to the 7 column, right? Now, obviously, this 7 keeps popping up for me, you know, and again, we might want to take notice of this 713 here, which is repeated over here as well. And the reason why we might want to take notice of this 713 is that I'm going to talk about it in a minute with Madonna. And it also references another date that I've been looking at for a future potential something could happen, which is the 9th of May. Okay. And this 9th of May, again, it's right, you know, the 713's underneath here, and the 713 is also here, right here as well. Okay. So we have some references to the 713 anyway, and I'm going to give you a couple more references to it here in just a second. But what I want to go to first is I want to look at this. I want to backtrack again back to this image here. So we've got the unholy Madonna here, is what I would call that, because of the idea of being draped in black, like the Black Pearl. She's crying here. We have the tears, which again in the dollar bill we have that one fold, which I call the tear fold, because it gives you the letters TIA, and that gives you the numbers 1, 2, and 9. Okay, so we've got some interesting stuff going on here, right? But this whole thing here, which connects to a tarot, which I wouldn't have known about this if it wasn't for this guy writing this little article. But the fact that it connects this tarot, and I'm like, okay, this is the 3 of Swords card, okay, and I'm thinking, wow, this is something I've heard before about tarot cards. You can convert tarot cards back into the regular deck of cards, and then from there you can get some numbers, okay, some dates that are aligned with certain you know, whatever card you have in the regular deck of playing cards. So, you know, the suit of clubs, hearts, diamonds, and spades all relate back to old tarot cards, right? Which, of course, I wouldn't have known any of that if I'd have. What was the channel I picked that up off of? It was Decode Your Reality. That guy, Logan, over there. So, anyway, I'm like, you know what? Seeing as she's got 7 swords in here, you know, and this relates to, I've got it up here somewhere. Hang on a minute, let me see. Yeah, here we go. So the 7 of spades is the 7 of swords. Okay, let me show you here. I got the 3 of swords in here. This is this tarot card, and I think it even says it down here. It says trade a spade. Okay, 3 of spades. I guess that's what that means. I don't know if that's what that is, French or some kind of Latin-based language. Anyway, it might be, what is it, Italian or Spanish or something. But what we got going on is we've got sword equals spades, as far as I'm aware, right? And so I go to this, you know, your 7 of spades birth card right here. Okay, I don't know if maybe they have a death card as well. I'm not sure. I don't know enough about this to even really be talking about it, but I just thought that was interesting because we got the January the 7th, okay, which again, the day before the birth of Elvis, and of course Madonna and Elvis are closely tied, having, you know, Madonna dying on the same day that Madonna being born on the same day of the year as Elvis dies. And so the other dates that came up here also looked pretty interesting to me. The 5th of Feb, which again is a 25 reference, and when we're dealing with the dartboard, and we're dealing with the moon and all these other kind of ideas of silver. 25, the silver anniversary, 25 years. The quarter, the coin itself, that idea of that silver coin being the moon, the 25. Okay, that's why it's worth 25. Okay, in fact, we'll go to some quarter stuff here if I remember in this video as well, and we'll look at a few dates that are in there that are interesting. So the 25, the outer ring, the outer ring of the bullseye, what I call the coronal ring of the bullseye, is 25. That's how much, if you get a dart in that area, that's 25 points. Okay, so 25 is super important with the idea of, the fictional metaphysical side of reality. Okay, so this date here, which is today, I'm like, interesting that one's come up, Also March the 3rd, 33, and 4/1, April Fool's Day. Again, I mean, some interesting blooming numbers right here with this idea. Now, I don't know, maybe maybe she's not referencing her death with the, with what's going on here. But, it is interesting that she's there with the heart and it's been stabbed several times. So, I don't know. I thought about maybe looking at the sort of, there's probably something to the way these swords are arranged as well, but I'm like, you know what, this video is going to be long enough already without me starting looking at what's going on here. Okay. Interesting though, we do have several references to swords with Madonna in oh my gosh, what's the Bond film where she plays Verity Graves. I think that's who she plays. The name of the film, I think it's Die Another Day. I'm pretty sure it's Die Another Day. Anyway, that film, she is I think a fencing instructor or something like that. And again, that ties back into Who's That Girl? Because in Who's That Girl, the love interest guy, I can't remember his name now. Blimmin' hell, that's eluding me as well. But anyway, he is, he has some kind of fencing. I don't know if it's some kind of, I don't know. Anyway, they end up fencing at the end of the film, and there's some kind of reference to fencing as well during the film. And again, I believe there's a little reference in the Lady Gaga 911 video to the idea of the arm that falls off the suit of armor during Die Another Day, during her video for a music video there, while I think they're fencing in that as well at that point in time. So it's just really interesting, the connections. I don't know if there's anything really to it, but it's interesting. Anyway, if I keep waffling, I will never get this video done. So we have a date. We have several dates. And again, I just did the balloon thing, and it was all about the 33. And again, we got the 33 encoded with that 7 of Spades card as well. So I'm like, I didn't think to look at the 7 of Hearts. I mean, maybe I should have looked at the 7 of Hearts as well, seen what that did. I don't know. Who's That Girl? Let's jump to that, and let's just talk about something real quick, because I'm going to show you some stuff in the dartboard now. I'm going to go to that 713 number, which again, if you take the letters 713, you can spell out the word lie. The letters, the numbers, you can transpose those numbers to letters, and I don't even know what I'm saying here now. But you can make the word lie out of that, okay? Who's that girl, right? I want to show you something here. The 23rd of June, okay? This 623, let me show you something very, very quickly. It's a partial kind of link here. But see this, the 5th of February here, the 329, 329 days left in the year. Yeah, we could kind of flip this 9 to a 6 and have 623, which on the surface, I just wanted to mention that because there's a different reference here, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I just wanted to mention that is kind of ties back to this. And then what I wanted to say was, okay, this whole thing with the 23rd of June, if we go to the 24th of June, that was the Champagne Towers collapse, the condo collapse down there in Florida. And again, I'll show you something with the quarters in a minute as well that probably tie back to that Florida thing as well. But that Florida thing, if you look at the replay of that, it looks like where the towers collapse, it looks like water coming over a dam. That's all I can say about it. Is that's what it looks like to me if you look at the replay of the thing falling down. Okay, so we have that reference on the 24th, the next day, and then the 25th is Michael Jackson's death. Okay, so this is all, I don't talk about Michael Jackson enough, but with this whole thing with Madonna, with the celebration tour, and like, I'm thinking celebration tour, it just sounds like celebration of life to me, and I'm just wondering, like Michael Jackson was going to do his last little concert show things, and he died before he did those shows, and I'm thinking, I wonder if we're playing out the same idea here with Madonna, this celebration tour, and it's going to be cut short. She's going to croak it before she gets to do this tour. Well, I thought, well, I'll look at Michael Jackson. This is it, this is it concert residency, okay, whatever you want to call it. But this was due to start on July 13th. So I'm like, that is interesting. And we got a 3-6 with the March the 6th. And of course, February the 5th, the 25, is the 36th day of the year. So I thought, you're getting some interesting stuff here. And so I'm like, you know what? I'll have to look at because part of this has come from looking at the dartboard as well. So I'm going to show you the dartboard decode now, right? I know this is all over the place, but we got this 713 encoded with Michael Jackson. Okay, so let's just remember the 713 is now encoded with Michael Jackson, and this idea of doing a final concert thing and it not happening. Okay, so let me show you this pic. I think I've still got it in here. Yeah, here it is. Oh, it looks a mess, but let me explain it and we can move forward, all right, from there, from this in just a second. Okay, the first thing to note is I've got when I've been doing these decodes with the dartboard, I've been putting crosses in most of the time because I think that's more interesting, the idea of the cross being the balance thing, rather than, you can just look at dates that are directly across from one another, but I think this is kind of interesting having this cross in here. Okay, and so what I want to say is, number one, this 521 is at the top of the dartboard. Okay, what was I just talking about that in reference to? I can't remember, but this is an important set of numbers up here. Okay, we're going to use part of that. Actually, I'll show you where that shows up in just a minute. Actually, in one of Madonna's in another one of Madonna's music videos, or in one of her singles. So what we got going on, Dan? Come on, let's get to the point. So we've got Madonna's birthday over here, right? And what's interesting is the other side of Madonna's birthday on this blue line here, we've got a reference to the king. Okay, this is Charlie Boy's birthday here. Okay, so the 14th of November, and we've got the 16th of August, and that's also the death. You know, with the birth of the Queen of Pop, we also have the death of the King of Rock and Roll. Elvis dies here as well. So we've got this sort of tie into the King and Queen with these numbers here, okay? And what's interesting is this set of numbers that are in the middle here, this 811, okay, because that is the middle of our table. That is our 1118, which is I just call it the dead center of the table, really. It's the point at which references balance, okay? This is why 911 in a way references both balance and unbalance. You know, when the thing was standing, the idea was the thing was balanced, and when the thing was removed, the thing was unbalanced. Okay, so we have this condensed version of the 1118, and opposite that we have some interesting numbers. We have the 134, the 314 of pi, okay, all to do with cycles. And we have well, it's 1.6. We have the 6-1 here with our numerology, which is the 1.618, yada yada yada, is the numbers for phi. So the golden ratio. So we've got two sort of transcendental numbers here that are to do with basically the fabric of reality. And so these are important numbers, right? And what's interesting is this number that's in the middle, this 136 or 163. And the 163 again is another approximation of phi. Okay, it's basically, you find it in the table right at the center where we do 11 divided by 18 divided by 11 gives us 1.6363636363 reoccurring. Okay, that's where your Fibonacci numbers, or in this case this is a set of Lucas numbers that's in the middle of the table, but that's how the golden ratio is encoded in the table, okay, or in Fibonacci numbers. Okay, you take the number that you're on and you divide it by the previous number, and that will give you an approximation of phi. Okay, so this is important because this is the golden ratio. Yeah, this is like the balancing point, you know. Okay, and it's just, what's interesting about this 1.63 is it actually shows up on the Hoover Dam. They did a light. They've done several little projections up on the Hoover Dam, and this was one of them. It was Clone FC, and it's in my previous stuff, but you can look that up and how that all, you know, was encoded on the Hoover Dam quite a while back now. But yeah, that is interesting that is showing up there. Another 1118 reference right at the center of this, opposite this other. Well, it's 118, but you know, you get the idea. Okay. So, with that being said, what I've got on the other perpendicular to this line here is I've got this. So the cross is forming, and what's interesting is when we take just the lines for Madonna, okay, we are looking more at pi, and pi, I believe, is a reference to the Hoover Dam for various reasons, the shape of the dam, the idea of well, it's just in so much stuff. It's in the dollar bill as well, and the idea of the the section of pi. You know, I mean, there's about 4 or 5, well, more than 4 or 5 ideas there, but what we've got opposite, what we've got on Madonna's sort of what am I trying to say? Cross. I could actually draw it in here, but basically it's a cross from here to here, so between the 413, and then if you come here, which again could be a 125 like Jesus's birthday, 1225, or a 521, which is what I call the matrix number, the 21st of May. Okay, and there is some other references that connect back to the 9th of May here with a 4-day jump as well, because we could go from the 9th of May, which is that date that I've been talking about with the 7,910-day jump. That would be 4 days on. This 12th would be 4 days on from this 9. So anyway, oh, blimmin' hell, this is making this way too complicated, Dan. But again, we can come across from that lot of numbers there, and we got the 172, and the 172, again, Madonna's gematria has the 127 in it, I think a couple of times maybe, I'm not sure, but it does show up there, okay? But what's interesting is, when we move to between King and Queen now, okay, when we move to between King and Queen, we have another date that is referenced, and it's this 173 that I've got circled in green here, and that is opposite the 20 and the 5 here. Okay, so we have a number jump, but potentially here 173, and we have 25. Okay, the 5th of February. So let me show you the number jump. Maybe this will make more sense now. Okay, so if we go from Madonna's birthday, August 16th, and we're just going 2022, okay, and we put that 173 in now, okay, we're going to the 5th of February, okay? So it's just interesting how the 173 also ties back into, that also ties back into, hang on a minute, what we got coming up? Let's go back to this a minute. So this 173 with, what am I trying to say? Michael Jackson, actually the king of pop as well. So that's also interesting with the king and queen idea again. And this 173 being used. So the king of pop and this 5, you know, and him using this as well for his start of his tour that he never did. And then it encoding over to here to the 5th of February potentially with these numbers. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that that stuff's kind of showing up, you know. I hope you can make sense of that, basically. You know, this idea of the king and the queen, and then we've got, you know, a number. You know, the king cannot be born until the queen dies, if that makes sense. You know, the queen has to die in order to allow the king to be born. And then we had the same stuff with Charlie Boy here, you know, his birthday, and him coming between the legs of the 8-9, yeah, the 8th of September when the Queen died, and Charlie Boy popped out from between the two legs there. Okay, he finally became king. The Queen was finally dead. Long live the king. Oh dear. So again, you know, when the other king died, this queen was born. The Queen of Pop was born. Okay, and so the King of Pop also ties into this, which is interesting. And of course, this 317 again, the 25th, the 25th of June is when Michael Jackson dies. So I don't know. what else do I want to show you with this? Because I think they've got some more interesting stuff here. Yeah, let me show you something about this, because again, the 25 again with the outer bullseye. Remember, we've just done the dartboard, so of course the 25 is going to be important with this. But this 923 here, let me show you it in the table now. This table, and I'll show you how this kind of relates back to, because she's 64 this year. Okay, so we've got the 6 and the 4 at the top. Okay, and this next set of numbers here, this 358. Again, the 358. If I can find it. I got a couple other things I want to talk about in here as well. So this might actually end up being quite a long. Where would it be? At the start here. Who's that girl? Look at the length of Who's That Girl? 358. Okay, 3 minutes 58 long. So again, it's kind of interesting that the 358 is right here, and again we got the 64 years old this year. What do I want to say? Here is our 3, 2, 9 right here. Kind of, we're kind of spanning over across these numbers here. Okay, so that was interesting. Again, with the 13 reference here, the 713, and also the 59 right above it. I don't know. I mean, I'm just showing you what I'm seeing. Okay, so again, this date also has personal reference for me, but here it is, 329 923 in reverse. Okay, so the 923 again is September the 23rd, the autumnal equinox. We're going from Virgo, the Virgin, into Libra, balance. Okay, again, hold your arms out, hold the 2 little weighing tray things from each arm. It's the cross, it's balance. So again, this has significance, this 923 or 329. Again, we just had all this nonsense with the balloon the previous few days, and of course today, I guess today is, again, we've got another reference back to Vegas with the Pro Bowl, and of course it's going to be a flag football game this year. So this idea of the false flag, I don't know. I mean, it's just the fake game. It's just interesting. It's I want to say just false flag springs to mind. So anyway, was there anything else I wanted to put in here? Yes, there was. I want to show you this take a bow. The idea of taking a bow when you are, signing out of life. Take a bow, okay. And again, the bow, the feminine is the bow, and the arrow will shoot from the bow. Okay, so take a bow. Here's that length, 521 at the top of the dartboard. That's what I was trying to get at earlier. It's interesting, we have released on the 6th of December. If we go to the 6th of December, okay, 6th of December, again, 25 days left in the year, so a 2-5 reference again. I don't know what I really want to say about that other than that. Let's, obviously that 3-4 kind of related to pi there as well. Of course we have to start fudging things when we're missing out ones and stuff. So that was interesting with the take a bow thing. The other interesting thing about that was, um, in this there's a reference to, it's a bullfighting video for the music video, and there is a reference to, what am I trying to think was in the, it was basically the guys killing the bull, right? And that's the symbolism of, Madonna dying. What's happened is the bull has become the raging bull now, rather than the divine holy cow. It is now the mad cow, if that makes sense. And of course, mad backwards is damn. But the mad cow, that's what we've got, mad cow disease. That's why that was such a big thing, such a big story. But that's what's happened basically to reality. The Matrix has become the mad cow, and that's the thing that's got to die. And with those Vanity Fair pictures, I do remember, and it might actually be in this little bit where the guy talks. Hang on a minute, where is it? Let's just scroll through here. It might be in here actually. He's got some. I wanted to say there was a pic. There it is. There was a picture here with the bullfighters, and there's Madonna. Okay, so we do have that reference back to that idea again. But yeah, here she is with her Madame X. And I will just mention the Madame X because let's look at the gematria on this real quick with the 25, because Madame X is 25. Okay, and of course X, what I've been going on about, X is 10. Completion, X marks the spot of the Holy Grail. Not really, but it was one of the clues in The Last Crusade with Indiana Jones in Diana. Yeah, 007 with him. I mean, that film, I watched it again the other day, and a little note at the end of the film. The reason why I was like, I wanted to watch it again was because, why did I want to watch it? Because of the kneeling thing. The penitent man kneels in front of God. Yeah, is humble in front of God, and that's one of the things that Indiana Jones has to do to get through the 3 tests before he can get to the Holy Grail, right? Well, this is just so funny. When you rewatch stuff, you just notice new stuff all the time. He has to spell out God's name, Jehovah, okay, and he spells it out wrong because he's supposed to spell it in Latin. It starts with an I, but I'm like, I was just thinking about it. I'm like, Jehovah, J Hoover, J Edgar Hoover, J Edgar Hoover, right? Take the Edgar out, J Hoover, Jehovah, Jehovah, J Hoover, Jehovah, Jehovah. And I'm like thinking, is this really a play on God's name? The Hoover Dam, could that really be a play on God's name? I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. I'll tell you what else was interesting. He has to walk between the 2 towers, doesn't he? Across the, you can't really see it, almost like there's a tightrope there, man on wire. And then what's funny is when he takes the Holy Grail back out, right, to um, to Sean Connery, right, and he washes the wound away and gives him a drink and everything else. And Elsa, you notice in the name here, I'm pretty sure it's Elsa in the film. Elsa takes the Holy Grail across the seal. Okay, she breaks the seal, and the seal, again, we could be looking at the seal that is on the back of Madonna's jacket, the seal that's on the back of the dollar bill. That seal that has to be broken is that pyramid structure. Okay, that is the Matrix. That pyramid structure. It's not all. It can be other things as well. But the system that we have right now is a hierarchical um, Ponzi scheme is basically a pyramid scheme, and so unfortunately that is the seal that has to be broken. The coming out of Egypt, yeah, that's the idea there. Um, but what was funny, what was hilarious was you notice this stuff afterwards, but Elsa, she got the blonde hair done up just like in Frozen, the Disney cartoon, and she drops it drops down the crack as the earth opens up, the Holy Grail, and she's trying to reach it. And I'm not sure if I don't think Indiana Jones says it. Harrison Ford doesn't say it, but I think it's um, Sean Connery that says it. He says it, Indiana Jones is reaching down for the Holy Grail. And he just says, "Let it go, let it go." And I'm thinking, "Let it go, na na na." I'm thinking of the song now in Frozen. I'm like, is that really what is going on there? Has Frozen really referenced that part of the film? And I think they have. It's just nuts. Anyway, long story. Um, a long story for not much of an ending there. But anyway, what's also interesting is Madam X. She's got the one-eyed Willy on. She's got the what am I trying to say? The one eye covered with the eye patch. And again, I'm thinking, oh, I think the Raiders. Do the Raiders have one eye covered? Because that's where the game's going to be at the Raiders Stadium in Vegas. I don't know I can't remember what the stadium's called, but um, so it's just interesting stuff. And then Nikki Finn here. Nikki Finn is the character that she plays in Who's That Girl? Okay, and we got a 52, the reversal of 25. So I thought that was interesting. We had a 146 the other day with Biden and Harris. They were, I can't remember well, I think it was like a Celtics. They had the Celtics over or something, and they were doing a photo shoot. And I think Biden had the 46 shirt, and she had the one. Okay, and actually he was actually kneeling in front of her, like we will see that takeover at some point where she becomes president, and because I'm pretty sure he was kind of kneeling, i.e., handing over power. So that was interesting with the 146. I don't know what else to say about this. The flag football, I couldn't really get too much apart from the 46, 64 for Madonna's age. The 215, we have to kind of fudge now. We've got the 25 in here, but so it wasn't really terribly too much with the gematria. I just thought that Madam X, her latest incarnation with the 25 was interesting, and Nikki Finn was interesting here with the 52. Out of interest, she does play the twin in This Is Desperately Seeking Susan, where she's Susan Thomas, the twin. And again, we got the 33 referenced here. And I tell you what's interesting about this though, is let me show you. I think I've got her up. Rosanna Arquette. August the 10th. Okay, and this is the character that she's twinned with in Who's That Girl? And Who's That Girl is the one where she's got the seal on the back of her jacket, okay? The $1 bill thing on the back of her jacket, right? The pyramid. And this is who she's twinned with in that film. August the 10th birthday, okay? Bear that in mind, because here's a picture of it so you can see, look, they got them dressed up similar, and it's a case of mistaken identity, So, I just thought it was interesting that, again, we have another tie back to the Hoover Dam with Herbert Hoover and August the 10th, birthday, same as Roseanne Arquette. So I mean, just little things you just come across that I don't know where to put that in a video, but there we go. I'll stick it in this video. Done. Desperately seeking Susan. So I want to say, what other things have I got going on here? Let me just click back. It is J. Edgar here again. J. Edgar again. A May the 2nd death date 25 again. So that was interesting with the 1-1 for the birthday as well. And again, just thinking about J. Hoover now, Jehovah. Oh. Hoover Dam in popular culture. I kind of wanted to do this. I maybe do this as a separate video, but you can go to Wikipedia, and they give you a list of all the films and stuff that it shows up in 1950. The penultimate encounter in the 1950s noir film 7-Eleven Ocean Drive. You can't write this stuff, I'll tell you. Of course, it's in Superman. Lost in America. I've seen a couple of clips of this. I'll have to go back. I have to go look at the film. The Universal Soldier I've talked about. I haven't. I'm gonna try and watch Beavis and Butthead Do America. Beavis and Butthead accidentally release water behind the Hoover Dam, which cuts off power to Las Vegas and causes a blackout. I mean, there's a possibility it could be loaded. Vegas Vacation, National Lampoons. I've seen some bits of that. I mean, the Transformers movie. So there's several films here that probably, man, I could really do with watching. I mean, Superman. There's so many things in Superman that re-reference back to other little bits of kind of clues. I'm thinking about like when Lois Lane dies in it. She drives from the gas station. I'm pretty sure they're playing some kind of Supertramp thing at the gas station. A nice little reference there. There's another nice reference when I can't remember the guy's name. That's Lex Luthor's, like he's the dumb counterpart. That's with Lex Luthor, chubby guy, and he's reprogramming the missile, right? That they're going to use to create the I don't know, the earthquake that's going to sink California, right? He's got the numbers to reprogram the missile written on his arm, and it's just like, I mean, I've seen it and I'm like, it's just like Donnie Darko. I'm like, is this real? Am I really seeing this now? He's got the numbers written up his arm just like Donnie Darko, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean, there's several other little bits in there. The helicopter thing, that shows up, the helicopter crash with Kobe, but it shows up in the Matrix, with the helicopter going down the side of the building there. I mean, there's quite a lot of things that show up in Superman that are re-referenced in other films quite subtly, but they're there. I mean, it's like Who's That Girl? I rewatched that. Okay, a nice reference to Red Rum, to The Shining on the side of the Rolls Royce. But there's a scene where she's in the car in the Rolls. No, it's not the Rolls Royce. They're in the limo of the bad guy, Raoul, and she turns around with the gun to kind of talk to him, and she's got the gun and it goes off and smashes the back windscreen, right? And I'm thinking, that looks just like the shot from Pulp Fiction when Vincent accidentally shoots Mum in the head. I mean, it's just like, it's almost the same scene that they put in that's in Who's That Girl is in Pulp Fiction, played by Vincent this time instead. I mean, it's just stuff like that. I mean, I'm like, I'm seeing a lot of like similar scenes in films right now that seem to be cross-referencing. I mean, I don't know. You should take a look at it for yourself and see if you can see what I'm seeing. But anyway, this goes on and on and on. There's some stuff in here that I'm like, like literature. The 2001 in 2001 in the Blake and Mortimer graphic novel The Strange Encounter, right? The main villain plans to use a hydrogen bomb to destroy the Hoover Dam, right? Well, that sounds interesting. Looked at this pops up on the title for Strange Encounter. Look at this. This doesn't look like the light shining up from where the Twin Towers was, does it? Oh my goodness. I mean, and of course now I got a reference to the middle of the desert with you know in Close Encounters of the Third Kind with that whole thing about the pilgrimage to the middle of the desert to uh, do that whole thing. I don't know. So there's a lot of interesting stuff in here. Music, the Highwaymen. Okay, the Highwaymen are. Look who we've got in there: Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson's in there as well. So I mean, some interesting people here as well. Who's that last one there? Chris Christopherson. Yeah. So I don't know. Excuse my chair creaking. I'm probably going to try and go through a few of these and watch a couple of these films and see if there's really anything that interesting in some of them. But it's stuff that I haven't really covered before. So Hoover Dam in popular culture might be worth, if you're interested in this stuff, looking at that. Maybe there is something in some of those. Billy Idol. I've kind of neglected Billy Idol, but this is also a potential guy that we could see maybe croak it. I mean, he's getting on a bit now. Oh, he's 67. And also this would kind of, this would also be another reference to the death of the dollar bill, and I don't know. I don't know what to say about it other than this is a big character in the whole story. So again, like Madonna. What did I want to say? Anything else about this tour? No, I think we really covered it. I don't really want to do anything more on the biblical stuff that she's referencing here. She's got some Last Supper stuff going on, and I think there's a reference just to the gluttony of the system here, and what has to die, the corrupted system. I think that's why this stuff looks so, some people would be appalled at this stuff, but this is why it looks like this. They're referencing the idea of the system being, it's just you can't have balance with a greed-based system. Okay, you just can't. Okay, it's an impossibility. Let's do some quarter stuff, and then I'm probably going to call it for this video. Some references with the quarters here, because it's just amazing what you kind of come across. What do we have going on? I wanted to do Montana and Kansas. I'm just going down through them. Of course, the idea is this is the 25. This represents the moon. Okay. And this is why this is such an, this is why they've done this series on the quarters, Here's Florida. Again, 3-3 when it entered the, oh, blimmin' hell, when it entered the Union, I guess, became part of the United States. I'm guessing that's what these little brackets are here. 1845, and again, here's this 329 number again. Okay, and the idea with Florida, also the number 27 in this series of coins, again with Madonna's references with the 27. We got the shuttle going to the bloody moon. We got the gateway to discovery. I don't know whose ship this is supposed to be here, but again, the idea of Christopher Columbus coming and discovering, and also that has some 525 references. So, you know, oh, I guess it says here Spanish galleon. I guess I should read what it says by the Sable Palmetto. I have no idea what that even means. I guess it probably the cabbage palm. Whatever. Again, 2-4. That's yesterday. I don't know. Just interesting stuff. Okay. What do I want to go to? Come on. Let's find Kansas here. What was interesting about Kansas? Again, 829. Michael Jackson reference. And January 29th. There's our January the 29th when Kansas becomes part of, again, becomes part of the United States. And here we go, number 34. What were we at? Number 34. Okay, I don't know what I was thinking there with that, but well, 36, 34. Yeah, all of these dates through here are just super interesting at the moment. Let's see. Look at, I think I've mentioned this before, but look at West Virginia here. Doesn't half look like water coming down a valley here with a Pat Tillman bridge going over the top? I don't know, 35, the year of the Hoover Dam. And of course you can keep going through them. Here's, you know, Nevada. We got the 131 reference that I was going on about a little while back. So again, that combines in nicely with the 27 and the 131, the 127 that was in the Back to the Future, the final scene kind of thing where the final jump Back to the Future in Back to the Future 3. Okay, with the steam train 131. Finally got to Montana. Here we got the holy cow, the cow head. You know, this is the womb. Again, we have a date of release of January 29. We've got a 2007, a 27 reference, and we got the 118, November the 8th. Okay, I don't know, you know, I mean, here's the 41. Yeah, one of those dates that was just there with the 7 of spades. Yeah, 7 of spades, it was 7 of swords with the April Fool's Day right here. So anyway, there's Washington. Yeah, November the 11th, 11/11 for Washington. Yeah, the Remembrance Day. Okay, so I mean, these dates actually, it's worth just looking at this stuff. Is the Transcontinental Railroad stuff, November the 5th. Again, 1/4. You know, almost all loaded. And some of the pictures really are loaded as well. I'm going to leave it at that because I don't really want to sit here just waffling through these things. But, you know, definitely worth another look at in terms of, like, you know, the symbolism. I haven't looked at this Kentucky one, and I'm like, blimmin' hell, this kind of looks like Noah's Ark. You know, we've got a horse on here, but this kind of looks like the railings here of this fence kind of look like the planking of the ship, and this kind of looks like the cabin top, I guess. I don't know what you call it, but you know, it kind of looks like Noah's Ark, Kentucky. And I could talk to you about where Ken shows up and Clark Kent shows up. You know, I mean, the Vermont with the Twin Towers, and then the Golden Gate Bridge here at Rhode Island, Red Island, Golden Gate Bridge. Oh dear, oh dear. I'm going to leave it there on those for now. This is an upcoming video, so we don't want to go on that. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there. I mean, I don't think there's really, you know, I mean, I could go on and on and on, but it is interesting. Her birthday, 173 days, takes us to the 5th of Feb. We have that card. We have that little reference with the Vanity Fair, with the swords going through this thing, and it does reference the 5th of February. Again, the death. Again, the death date is the birthday, if you like. So it doesn't, you know, you can flip those two things around, you know. And I'm going to leave it there for this. You know, we got the Michael Jackson idea with his concerts, him not making it to do those, and the reference to July the 13th in here. We have the reference to July the 13th in the table, which cross-references with this 5-9. And let me just mention something, because there is another Bond film out there that is heavily loaded, I believe now, more so, looking at some of this stuff. A View to a Kill, with the Zoran character in it, the racehorse thing. In fact, we just had a racehorse guy die. I'm not going to go to it, but I can't remember his name. Alistair something, I think, or something Alistair. I believe he died. I don't know. Let's just go to it very, very quickly. But we have that whole Zoran thing going on. Again, with the blimp crashing into the Golden Gate Bridge. Well, where would that be? I think I might have got rid of it, actually. I think I had a bunch of birthdays up for the... Yeah, I think I already got rid of it. I ain't going to worry about it right now. But anyway, you know, there's a couple of other deaths that were interesting. There was a John Adams, I think maybe on the 30th of January. This other guy, this racehorsing guy, I don't know if he was the 29th or the 28th. It was some day around that area. But you know, the doping of the racehorses. Again, we just had the Kentucky, known for the Kentucky Derby. The Kentucky symbol looks like a bloody Noah's Ark. So I'm just going around in circles with this stuff, you know. And what I really want to say is that film with Mayday in it, okay. And of course, I mean, you can just tie these characters back to one another. I mean, Mayday, whatever her name is, Grace, I think it's Grace Jones, ties back to Dolph Lundgren with Universal Soldier. I think he dated her for a while. And, you know, but the idea of Mayday being in that thing, get to the point, Dan. The date 5/9. This is one of our dates that comes out on this jump across here, the 7,910 day jump from 9/11. This 5/9. The day after that, 5/9, 5/10, gives us the numerology for May Day. Okay, 5/1, the 1st of May, which I would call May Day. I know it changes, and they put May Day on a bank holiday. You know, they make it a bank holiday and they move it around. But the 1st of May, May Day, 5/1, the 51. The 51 right here at the start of this. Again, Madonna's song, We Need a Holiday, a holy day, a day with a hole in it, a day with the Hoover Dam with a hole in it. May Day is a holiday. Again, 5/9 the day before, 5/10, and 5/10 again could be a reference to the maypole, the May Day, and again, you know, like the Golden Gate Bridge looks like a couple of maypoles sticking up there. So I'm all around in circles, and also the Space Needle looks like a maypole as well, the top of a maypole. So, oh dear, I mean, you know, I'm all over the place with, you know, these references and what it all really means. I'm not sure. I'm done. I think that's it for the video. Okay. Yeah, 5th of February. I know it's a bit of a long shot for anything happening to her, and I think it's probably already been covered with what's going on in Vegas with the flag football. I'm sure that's going to have some interesting stuff going on in it that will reference all of this stuff, maybe. So anyway, although again, I seem to remember listening to a blooming football game not that long ago with them talking about Kobe non-stop. So I don't know. Interesting. What have I missed out? Well, I think that's it. I'm just going to call it a day on it because I know this video is way too long. But yeah, could potentially be here in this thing as well. Okay. And was there something else I wanted to say? I did want to say one more thing, right? Because what's important is this cross becoming upright and going straight up and down. And the 203rd day of the year is 6/11. Okay. And let me go to a clearer thing so I can explain this just very quickly. Okay, 203 is 6/11. Okay. Now, but what also is interesting is if I go from 5 to 1 and I go 7,000, I don't even know what it is, 71391 days. Okay, that will take me to November the 6th. Okay, so there's an interesting number jump in here, but this, I believe, has even more significance this year because the 50 days between the 29th of January and the 5/9, we were just talking about these two dates, okay, with our two big number jumps, okay, the date that is in between those two dates is 3/20. Okay, this is 3/20 is the spring equinox this year. So blooming hell, if there was a day that was going to be referenced in here, straight up and down, you know, and straight across, you know, very interesting to say the least. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe the next 9/11, the upside down, the reversal of 9/11, as JL would say, because one of his dates is the 11th of June. But maybe this idea of referencing the upside down or the return of the 11, okay, is going to play out something to do with 3/20, you know, the 20th of March. So I don't know. I just thought I'd tack that in the end of there because I don't know when I'll get around to talking about that either. Alright, I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you on another one here fairly soon, I think. That's it for tonight though. Alright, bye.